Hey y'all, welcome back. Here's a quick review on a foundation that I purchased over the holidays, and it's finished now, and I thought I'd give you guys my 2 cents on it. I'm talking today about the Josie Maran Vibrancy foundation. It comes in this beautiful bottle. It's a glass bottle and it has a pump, as you guys can see, and it's a big old mess right now, and that's one of the things I want to review with you guys about this foundation. I happen to have it in the shade Mystical RG30, and well, Josie Maran Vibrancy. I'm sorry to say that this foundation is not for me. I am 47 years old. I have combo skin, and in the winter I have dry on the outside of my skin, on the outside of my face, and typically a little bit more oily down the middle. However, I recently started a new skincare regimen, and so my skin around my nose and in my just basically around my face has been peeling due to the retin-A. So I thought I need to get something that's very hydrating because my skin is just so, parched. I need to help it in the process. So I thought, Josie Maran, argan oil. Let's try her new foundation. And I hate to say it's an argan oil foundation fluid, and I hate to say that I did not care for this foundation. Not only did I not care for it, my daughter was about it. What can I say? Let me show you. It is a glass bottle. It has a pump, and it is the messiest pump I have ever used. And I would love to show you this, but today the lid came right off, right? But my biggest complaint about this foundation is that sometimes when you would do this, the whole pump would come out. In fact, I can honestly tell you that for about the first week of me using this foundation, I kept thinking, what in the heck? That's one weird applicator, because every time I would open the bottle, this thing would come out. And so I assumed it had no pump. About a week into it, one day when I went to go pull off the lid, voila, it's a pump. And I know y'all gonna think I'm dumb when I tell you all that story, but for some reason, I don't know if it's the glass container with the screw lid pump. When you would pull this thing out, it would all come out in one piece. So I kept thinking, oh, maybe it's like those new paddle foundations that are out. And I would, then put it, swipe it across my face and then try to blend it in. The foundation actually came with this brush. It's her Josie Maran 005 brush. And right now it's not the cleanest because it is a dual fiber brush, as you guys can tell. And for applying this foundation, it was awful because, well, I'll go into in a minute into this foundation, but it was awful because it is a dual fiber. And so when you would go like this, instead of it buffing it into the skin, it would literally just like leave these swipey marks on your skin. And so then when you tried to stipple it on, it would just all get poked into it was just no bueno. So I have since then repurposed this as a great blush brush. I have actually really enjoyed it for that. It came a little bit bent in this area. I think that the pressure I got it in through the mail, and the pressure, there must have been something putting pressure here because it's never really corrected out, even though I've washed it several times, and it just never has, fluffed out. But the brush itself is not bad. It's just not good to use with this foundation. This foundation, well, purpose and the reason why I bought this foundation was I thought, let me get something that will be very hydrating. Let me get something that won't, that won't emphasize all the peeling that I've got going on my skin. Let me get something that's got some good skincare qualities to it, right? Well, that's the thought behind it. The problem is that this foundation is very, for lack of a better word, I'm gonna have to say greasy. So when I'm going to try to pump. This is another problem. Even though the pump, when it was full, you could never, ever be sure when you would get some that came out of the pump. It would pump like, it would just literally raspberry outside of the foundation. And so I'll just swipe some that is left inside. At this point, there's not much left. It's just what's on the actual bottle. I'd have to scrape out the rest to really get some wear out of it. And I don't like it enough to do that. As you guys can see, I have it right there. That's the shade I had. The shade was no problem. When I blended it in, it worked just fine. And I'll do some blending in like this. And there it is. My biggest problem with it is that I couldn't figure out what it was. Was it supposed to be just a sheer finish or a light foundation? Because I'll say this, it didn't provide much coverage at all. It sat on my skin. It emphasized every single pore that I have. And it just didn't make my skin look pretty. And I have enough trouble already. I'm 47. My skin has got its own issues. I'm trying to, make my skin look better. I'm not trying to make my pores look like they're filled with grease. I'd like to tell you that I even felt about this foundation, but when I realized that I really didn't care for it was when I started using the new foundation that I pulled out. And the new foundation I happen to have bought recently is the Wet n Wild Photo Focus, and I have it in Buff Bisque 366C. I love this foundation. It made me realize how much I did not care for this foundation. Even though they're both dewy foundations, this one doesn't sit on my skin. This one actually, it looks like it's my skin. This one actually helps kind of neutralize some of my pores. Even though I do wear a primer and I do try to keep my pores as small as possible, it just doesn't call attention to them with this foundation. Is it perfect? No, but it is a heck of a lot better than this one. The other foundation that I had in my, my stash that I pulled out because I was getting so frustrated with this one is the True Match Lumi by L'Oreal, and I have it in the shade N1-2 Soft Ivory, Classic Ivory. And if you like a dewy finish and you want something that will give you some good coverage and you want SPF 20, go for this one. Okay, it may not have the skincare qualities that this one has, but you know what? Buy a good serum and use this one. If you want a foundation that's going to make your skin look pretty, it's going to make your skin look finished, it's going to give you medium coverage, buy this one, because this coverage is so sheer that it literally showed all my hyperpigmentation. It showed every single pore I had, and then the bit of pigmentation it did have would fall inside of my pores and it just looked like a golf ball. So I would recommend this one over this one. I hate to be so harsh on a product, and if it is your holy grail, maybe you can tell me what the heck I was doing wrong, because honestly I couldn't seem to make it work. I don't like to be harsh on a product. I use her argan oil, not on a daily, but I do use it and I like it. I like the Josie Maran Milk. I have a new one that I'm going to get ready to start now in the summer. I love to use that product in the summer, but this foundation for me was a definite no. I wouldn't recommend it for someone with aging skin. I wouldn't recommend it for someone who wants to have coverage. If you just want something that's kind of a skincare and with very, very sheer tinted moisturizer kind of coverage, then go ahead and give it a go. It is a bit sticky, kind of like her sunscreen that is just a bit thick and sticky. It's just not comfortable. Guys, I really appreciate your coming by. I'm sorry that my review this time wasn't as positive as I like them to be, but I really want to be honest with y'all. Please, please forgive me if it's your holy grail and I just slammed it. It's not my intention ever to hurt someone or to offend you. And if this at all speaks to you, give me a thumbs up and maybe subscribe. I hope you guys have a great day. Thank you once more for joining me, and I'll see y'all later. Bye.